I always say to my students and people I meet that maybe get caught up in frustration, that I have a strong belief, and I think we share it, a strong belief that our dogs work in pictures. And I believe our dogs will be very good at the pictures they have seen before.
Yeah.
And a picture can change if, for example, the environment is changing, the angle of the jump is changing, anything close to it, or
even equipment or something
yes,
like
exactly.
this.
A new place, a new turf, or anything that is changing can change the picture. And like when my students used to get frustrated, I tried to help them to understand that it's not necessarily that the skill isn't working. It could be the picture. Absolutely. So maybe we have found a picture that this dog cannot do, and maybe if we work through this picture, we have a wider
we can
toolbox.
See more.
Yes, exactly. And I believe it's our responsibility as dog trainers to expose our dogs to the most pictures. I think those dogs will be the best trained dogs.
Yes.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah. So I
love that.
Nowadays, when my students have, like my regular students have a mistake in training, they look at me and they're like, I don't think my dog knows this picture. And I always feel so proud because that takes away the frustration. It also, it helps so much too, that it's not necessarily, oh, my backside is not working anymore. It could be the picture. So if you can figure out what in the picture is not working, then you can help the dog succeed. So
beautiful.
Yeah,
I'll give you a little story about pictures. When we were going, Kim and I were coming over to Germany at the beginning of July, and we were going to be in a one-day seminar and with a lot of Prophet's relatives. And at the last minute, Kim got an opportunity to be in that. And she was really nervous. And she was like, what if I'm not, they're going to be so good. Those German handlers are so good. And she was having this meltdown. Well, we got there. Kim was brilliant. She got the feedback and really was great. Susan strolled in, stepped to the line, handled the first sequence, and that was probably the last time my dog willingly did a sit.
In that period of time,
right?
Those 3 weeks.
Right?
Yes.
Because the picture had changed, and he was hyped by all the
Yes.
dogs in 2 rings.
Yes.
And I said, close. And he went into his vapor locked border collie. I can't. And I'm like, it's Susan Garrett's dog. You should be sitting. But that was a new picture. And so I had to go home and create a way where I could have confidence that when I ask you to sit, no matter what, that you are going to sit with responsiveness.
It just helps so much in that situation to just comfort yourself with, okay, it's not
a different picture.
It's not the sit, it's the picture.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if I understand the picture, it takes away the frustration. And I remember we talked about it and we smiled a little bit and like, okay, new picture.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. And we don't have to be frustrated. It's just understanding why it's happening.
And nobody had to be intimidated by Susan Garrett because her damn dog wouldn't sit. But our point is, with respect to agility, is you become your best coach, and you become your best coach through video and journaling the feedback you're getting from the people whose opinion you trust. You don't need to write down everybody's feedback.
Yeah.
There'll be people when you come out of the ring that want to give you feedback immediately. Yeah. You can just focus on your dog.
That's not the feedback we need.
No, focus on the
That's
dog.
not the positive words of affirmation.
No. Absolutely.
So usually what happens, just a little tip for that, if I come out of a run and somebody would come immediately to me for some feedback, like my first response would be, give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Take care of my dog.
Yes. Give me 5 minutes. I will do what I'm doing always. And then I will always go back to that person. And then we're like, okay, like,
what did you say?
Yeah. What did you want to say?
Yeah.
And because that also, like, I already have like a little bit of my mind already made up about what happened. And then I'm still open to hear it.
Right. For sure.
But then you have to decide, you have to know your own truth first, maybe.
Yep.
And then you can start looking.
Right. And don't be that person. Don't be that person.
Don't be that person.
Right. Good try. Get them next time. And then talk about it over drinks later.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do. Yeah. How soon after your run do you look at your video? I don't want feedback if it didn't go well. Well, like Max said yesterday, and I 100% agree, I don't think I've ever looked at a run that was as bad as it felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It usually is was so much better than you
Always.
thought it is.
And I think it's
Yeah.
easier to find the good parts when you're looking at the video,
Yeah.
because if depending on your mindset, when you leave the ring, your brain is thinking about the negative parts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's so easy for us to point out the negative parts versus the good parts if the run wasn't clean, for example. So I
but-
try to watch them quite close
close.
to the
Yes,
run. Yeah.
Yes. And also, if you do it like all the time, what happens is that your mindset will change, because you will go out of the run, rewarding your dog, having in mind, okay, let's see what was good. Let's see what can we improve on. So you will go out of the ring, you will reward the dog, you will go out of that area, you know, maybe give the dog a sip of water and then go for a cool down walk. And while you do that, you watch your video. So it can be within the next like 10, 15 minutes of your run.
Yeah.
And it will get like a kind of a routine. So at one point, you won't even go out of the ring with that negative feeling anymore, I would say. You go out of that ring knowing, okay, we will check that. We will see what happened. And then even if after you watch the video, usually if you just put it into perspective, maybe it's a 40-second video and maybe 3 seconds was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And
That's
it's
37
never-
good seconds.
And it was
honestly.
never as bad as you thought it
Yeah.
was.
No, they are never.
Yeah, and a lot of times the feeling of bad is pride, because you know people are watching, and maybe your friends are watching, and maybe you made it look like a harder course than it really was, and it's like that, it's experience.
Yeah.
And did your dog think it was a horrible time?
Yeah.
No.
I have to interrupt.
Yeah.
We have a question. Do you believe in rewarding the dog no matter how good or bad the run is?
100%.
Honestly,
Of course.
yes.
Of course.
100%.
And I think you can also create a feeling at the finish line. So rewarding with the jackpot at the finish line is not only positive for our dogs,
Also for
it's also positive for us.
yeah.
Yes, because in my brain, the jackpot reward, it's so connected to success and a positive feeling for me. So at the finish line, I always try to jackpot as much as I can, because that brings me dopamine.
Right.
Yeah.
And that it makes me
100%.
happy. So
Yes.
like of course,
name one example that you think a dog, a situation of what could happen in an agility ring that you shouldn't give all out crazy reward to the dog.
Or where the dog wouldn't deserve a reward.
Right.
Yeah.
There isn't one. There's nothing they could poop on the top of the A-frame, because it's feedback to you.
Yeah.
That's all. Every agility run is an evaluation of how well you've prepared that dog.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't go as planned, if they jump off the seesaw, if they do zoomies around the ring, if they're giving you feedback, and you've got to say, thank you, teacher.
Yeah.
I'll do better for you next time. This is a picture I didn't know you didn't know.